World War II is so far the largest global military conflict in human history. It involved over 60 countries and regions around the world. From 1939 to 1945, 6 years, the Allies and Axis powers mobilized a total of 130 million people for war. At the time, the global population was only about 2.2 billion. The scale of mobilization and the brutality of the battles reached an unprecedented level. To win the war, each country exerted its utmost effort, mobilizing all possible social resources to serve the needs of war. The entire world was deeply engulfed in this disaster. The new world order established after the war continues to affect us today. Let me give you a brief preview. The complete World War II documentary series is about to launch. Starting this month, I will consistently and steadily update new episodes. Per the sponsor's request, let's begin with a comparison of each nation's strength in World War II. I will cover 3 dimensions: military power, economic level, and casualty statistics, using a data-driven approach to take you into that war-ravaged era. The key factor determining the outcome of war undoubtedly lies in military strength. Measuring a country's military power involves not only troop numbers and weaponry, but also tactics, strategy, and command capabilities. Among these, army size and weapons are often the most direct and quantifiable indicators for comparison. Let's first compare the total population and the total number of people mobilized by the major belligerents during World War II. By calculating the ratio of participants to total population, we can assess the degree of wartime mobilization. This data reflects both the depth of national investment in the war and its social impact. Germany, 18 million troops mobilized, population 70 million, mobilization rate 25.7%. Soviet Union, 34 million troops mobilized, population 170 million, mobilization rate 20%. United Kingdom, 5.9 million troops mobilized, population 47 million, mobilization rate 12.6%. United States, 16 million troops mobilized, population 130 million, mobilization rate 12.3%. France, 5 million troops mobilized, population 42 million, mobilization rate 11.9%. Italy, 4 million troops mobilized, population 44 million, mobilization rate 9.1%. Japan, 9.3 million troops mobilized, population 73 million, mobilization rate 12.7%. China, 14 million troops mobilized, population 420 million, mobilization rate 3.3%. From the above data, the Soviet Union had the highest total number of participants during the war. From 1941 to 1945, during the Soviet-German War, 34.47 million Soviets went to the front lines. Germany, beginning with the invasion of Poland in 1939, fought on the Western Front, Eastern Front, and in North Africa, deploying a total of 18 million troops. The U.S. also mobilized heavily, 16 million troops. America had the fastest and largest military expansion in World War II. In 1939, the U.S. military had only around 300,000 personnel. By 1941, it had grown to 1.8 million. After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and the U.S. declared war on the Axis, America used its abundant manpower and powerful industrial base to rapidly expand. In just over 3 years, its armed forces grew to over 10 million, deployed in Europe, Asia, and the Pacific. After World War II ended, America had transformed from a bystander into the most powerful war giant. China, during its 8-year war of resistance against Japan, mobilized 14 million troops, making it a crucial part of the Asian theater. Civilian and military deaths reached 18 million, second only to the Soviet Union. Japan fought across China, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific, mobilizing 9.3 million soldiers. It was the primary aggressor among Axis powers in Asia. In terms of mobilization, Germany and the Soviet Union were the only two nations exceeding 20%. Germany, as the instigator of the war, reached 25.7%. Nearly half of all able-bodied men served. Except for the elderly, sick, and very young, almost every able man was drafted. This stretched society to the edge of collapse, a nation fully consumed by war. The Soviet Union's mobilization also reached 20%. After Operation Barbarossa began, and under fierce German blitzkrieg assaults, the Soviets suffered heavy losses. To resist, they fully activated their war machine. Under a planned economy, they mobilized every resource for combat. The Eastern Front between Germany and the USSR became the bloodiest and deadliest theater in World War II. Aside from manpower, weapons and equipment are vital to military power. The quantity and quality of weapons directly affected combat effectiveness. This heavily tested each country's military industry. In this aspect, the Allies were clearly superior to the Axis. The United States led the world in economic and industrial output, with formidable production capability. As the Allies' arsenal of democracy, the U.S. continuously supplied the front lines with arms and materials. The Soviet Union, too, had a robust heavy industry. It produced large numbers of tanks and artillery. Most of its factories were dual-use, easily converted for war production. For instance, the Stalingrad tractor factory originally made farming tractors, but was converted into a heavy tank plant after war broke out. Moreover, the U.S. and USSR had complementary strengths. Each mass-produced its own most effective weapons. Meanwhile, Germany had to bear the Axis burden largely alone. Its teammates, Italy and Japan, lacked industrial capacity, struggling even to support themselves, let alone Germany. Thus, Germany had to produce everything by itself. Though its tanks, artillery, and aircraft were top-tier, it constantly faced production shortfalls. Now let's look at aircraft, tanks, artillery, and military vehicles to compare industrial capacities. Aircraft production. U.S. 328,373. Germany 194,542. USSR 162,728. UK 134,386. Japan 79,521. Italy 11,122. Within 2 years of joining the war, the U.S. built 30 new aircraft factories, increasing output 27-fold during the war. Tank production. USSR 105,251. U.S. 88,610. Germany 46,857. UK 27,896. Japan 2,695. Italy 2,473. Artillery production. USSR 516,648. U.S. 256,390. Germany 159,144. UK 124,877. Japan 13,350. Italy 7,200. Military vehicles, trucks, jeeps, etc. U.S. 2,382,311. UK 550,943. Germany 345,914.
USSR, 257,100. Japan, 190,945. Italy, 83,000. America's output surpassed all others combined. This owed much to the Ford Motor Company's assembly line innovation. Even before World War II, Ford had pioneered standardized mass production, dramatically improving efficiency. In vehicle manufacturing, America was light years ahead. In World War II, the contest of strength among nations wasn't only on the battlefield. It also played out in economics, technology, and resource mobilization. Now let's compare their economic strengths. In 1939, before the war, U.S. GDP, $99.7 billion. USSR, $63.6 billion. Germany, $44 billion. UK, $29.8 billion. France, $18 billion. Italy, $10 billion. In per capita GDP, U.S., $6,134. UK, $5,983. Germany, $5,126. France, $4,424. Italy, $3,244. Japan, $2,356. USSR, $2,150. Industrial output was also critical. In global share of industrial production, U.S. 38.7%, USSR 17.6%, Germany 13.2%, followed by UK, France, Japan, and Italy. Keep in mind, this was pre-war data. During the war, industrial and economic capacities evolved rapidly. U.S. industrial output surged as it expanded its military. Germany's invasions gave it control over Europe. By 1942, Germany reached its zenith, controlling 6.4 million kilometers and 240 million people. Its resource access and productivity peaked, second only to the U.S. From 1940 to 1944, 7.6 million laborers from occupied countries were put to work for Germany, filling labor shortages. They made up 1/5 of Germany's workforce. Without them, Germany could not have fielded 18 million soldiers. In Hitler's new European order, the continent served Germany. Steel, coal, food, meat, all seized from the occupied. Among them, France was the richest, and thus exploited the most. The French had to pay occupation fees. In 1943 alone, France paid 273 billion francs, 56% of its GDP. Under German occupation, France's GDP shrank by a third, plunging the nation into poverty. This exploitation was key to Germany's prolonged resistance against the Allies.
WW2 came at a terrible price. Now, let's look at the casualties. 70 million people died. The Soviet Union suffered the worst. 28 million deaths in 4 years of war with Germany. Next was China. 18 million dead during its 8-year war. 80% of them civilians. Then Germany, 8.67 million. Japan, 3.37 million. France, 1.2 million. Italy, 510,000. UK, 440,000. US, 420,000. Just China and the USSR accounted for over half of all WW2 deaths. Now compare deaths as a percentage of 1939 population. The USSR, 14.8%, meaning 1 in 7 Soviets died, mostly young men. This left a severe post-war demographic gap. Germany lost 11%, also catastrophic. Looking at German casualties over time, from 1939 to 1943, 37% of total losses. From 1944 to early 1945, the remaining 63%. Clearly, late-war German troop quality fell. New draftees lacked training. Many died as cannon fodder.
In the final year, as the Allies entered Germany, 2/3 of German troops were captured. Among Allied captors, German POW death rates varied. UK, 0.58%, US, 0.71%, France, 3.62%, USSR, 11.86%. This shows how much the Soviets hated Germany. Higher POW death rates reflected deeper hatred. Through these numbers, military, economic, and human, we now have a clearer view of WW2. But these stats are just the surface. There are still countless moments of pain and defiance worth remembering in this global inferno. In future episodes, let's revisit the war that changed the world's order and rewrote history.